those things are.
Exactly.
It depends what you get rejected work instead of having cocktail.
Lavish ones. Some of the solutions.
Considered to be the or, even though hopefully set up a neighborhood killed so easily.
That's very important. Well, there's an old saying, even water turns to poison when it's standing still. Well, that mentality keeps businesses on the chase for profits anywhere in the world opportunities may be. And part of the corporate site selection process looks at possible roadblocks in the way of profits, which can include the weather. Princeton, New Jersey-based location consultant John Boyd shares some insight on that process today. Thanks, John, for coming.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Talk to us. It's not something we automatically think of at the outset. How big an impact does weather play in that decision?
Weather is emerging as a critical site selection variable that we look at very closely, especially for several key industries. Number one, food processing and the agricultural industry. As you may know, there's epic drought conditions today in the Midwest, affecting about 10 Midwestern states. It's the worst drought in 100 years.
Wow.
And the corn crop is down 20% this year. So there's a trend away from the Midwest towards well-irrigated markets around the country that are blessed by abundant water resources.
I would imagine there's kind of a domino effect. If you have the corn growers moving, you're going to have the petrol-associated industries moving with them.
That's a great point. The ethanol industry is suffering because of the reduced ethanol corn supply. In fact, almost 1/10 of our nation's ethanol plants are actually sitting idle today.
Wow.
Because of the diminished corn supply.
That's incredible. Not a story you hear about every day. Let's go back to this weather impact. I know that across the U.S. you talk about the Midwest, but I was looking at Australia where they've had all of these major storms and fires and flooding. Is that something on a worldwide basis you guys look at and say, well, we know it's happening just this year, so that won't change our plans, or this is happening huge, we're going away?
Right, and it seems to be more of a factor with the 24-hour news cycle, whether it be hurricanes, which are captivate the imaginations of the news cycle, or what's happening today in Australia. These are things that business doesn't like. Business needs continuity, consistency. So whether we're talking about the food processing industry, which relies upon water and being in irrigated areas, or the data security industry, which needs to have continuity of operations away from flood zones or earthquake zones, or areas that routinely are subjected to extreme snowstorms.
Sure.
Those are all things that are negatives for geographies trying to attract new businesses.
But I would imagine these are decisions made on long-term trends rather than just maybe one seasonal thing.
Sure, that's true. And it seems to be these severe weather patterns seem to be something that we're coming to grips with. As businesses.
Let me ask you about regions that maybe are suffering because of this whole weather. We talked about the Midwest. Last time we talked about Georgia actually benefiting, California benefiting, but then there are policies, I guess, politics that get in the way. But who's hot right now in the U.S.?
Areas with abundant water resources are very attractive to the food processing industry. Central Washington State, for example, Quincy just attracted an Amway food production facility. Also, markets like upstate New York, Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse. The Great Lakes region is very attractive. Also, cities along the Mississippi River, Memphis and St. Louis, for example.
Are you surprised that we're seeing a lot of tech coming from out of California back to New Jersey, of all places?
Right, I'm not surprised. Again, we always say California is really ahead of the curve with respect to fashion trends, entertainment trends, pop culture trends. Unfortunately for business, California is also the first state to overregulate with onerous business regulations.
Taxes.
And AB 32, which speaks to this whole climate change debate, and imposes new taxes and surcharges on industrial energy users. The result of that is a move away from California to states like Texas and other states with less onerous business regulations.
Wow. Real quick, internationally, are there areas that you see a lot of growth taking place? I know we talked about Turkey getting a lot of business interest. Are there other areas in the world?
Certainly, there certainly are. But I mean, these drivers are, America isn't unique in terms of being sensitive to climate issues.
Climate.
Sure.
And climate change. I guess green businesses are now big too.
There's a big move towards green friendly markets that offer wind power as well as hydroelectric power are in demand right now. And also areas near intermodal rail facilities. Rail can diminish CO2 emissions by over 50%. So cities like Kansas City, St. Louis, Central Washington State with access to intermodal rail facilities are more attractive for companies looking to establish either a manufacturing facility or a warehouse facility.
Interesting. So trains are hot.
They certainly are.
All right. Well, thanks. Good stuff, John. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.